Initiate startup process.
Now, all the way live.
Hey yo, y'all know what this is?
Jamming the most hip hop and R&B.
I want to introduce to y'all
Infamous. Call your friends and tell them it's going down now.
It's going down.
You understand that?
Amadeuz is live.
Let's go.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Infamous Hour. I'm your host, the Infamous Amadeuz. All social media platforms at the Infamous Amadeuz. This amazing interactive experience that we've been bringing that started in the pandemic, and you see we finally went back outside. According to the CDC guidelines, we don't have to wear a mask, but a lot of guys are dirty out here, so we're still wearing masks. Round of applause for you guys. All right. Of course, when it comes to the Infamous Hour, you've been seeing a new experience. We've been doing in studios. We had Jail Felony, we had Onyx. A lot of guys that we had on Zoom, we bringing them in studio. And of course, I have my good friend, my co-host, Tone Vera here on the Infamous Hour. What's up?
Yo, we've been outside. Don't tell my mama, but we've been outside. Let's do this, man. I love this.
Now, this is a very special episode to me. Of course, the infamous name is directly reflective of the guy that's on the line right now. Not only that, he brought another artist. I mean, the guy, we don't have to really introduce him. Top 5 producers all time.
Easily.
A lot of you guys been biting the stilo since 93.
Facts.
Let's be clear. The legendary Havoc is here. What's up, Havoc?
Go.
Yo, what up?
What's up? And not only do we have Havoc, but Havoc has brought apparently what is the next batter up when it comes to hip-hop. He's here. I see him in the blogs. Of course, obviously, we're on Shade 45. He's ringing off. Have every publicist in America DMing me, I need this Nyce Da Future Havoc record on the radio. Nyce Da Future.
Sir.
Welcome to the Infamous Hour. Round of applause for you.
Yes, sir. I'm in the building, you know.
That's
good
right.
to be here, man.
Thank you,
We
guys.
here.
Now, Havoc, you have an amazing resume. I admire that you've been supporting the new crop of boom bap artists. We heard you on Conway Joint, work with Flea Lord. What makes Nyce Da Future different, that you putting this type of cosign on them?
The thing about Nyce is that, Nyce is passionate about what he do. You know what I mean? He's an ill lyricist, to his credit. And, he one of the homies. So, I really, I appreciate his artistry.
Yeah, most definitely.
Nice. I got to ask you this right off the bat. With a name like Nyce, obviously you got to be nice.
Yes,
I need to know the story. How did you get introduced to Havoc?
Oh, I mean, well, I used to be in the hood, doing hood things. You know how we do. And basically I grew up with like Fifth Banks, shout out to Fifth Banks, and they would always tell me about, yo, you nice, like you got them skills, my nigga, like come do this rap shit. So I'm like, oh, my bad.
It's all good.
Let's go do this rap thing, you know what I mean? So I'm like, man, I want to do this rap thing. I'm in the streets with it. And they blew up. So I was like, damn, it could really happen because we came from the same neighborhood, you know what I mean? So I'm like, damn, it could really happen. And I decided, I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. You know what I'm saying? So I started recording. And shout out to Fly. My cousin used to actually cut Fly's hair, which is Havoc's. That's Havoc's best friend. You know what I'm saying? And they used to play my joint in the barbershop like every day. So any customer come through, they always be like, who's that? So Fly was like, yo, who's that? And he was like, yo, that's my cousin. He was like, yo, bring him to the studio. And my cousin called me and he was like, yo, we gotta go to the Mobb Deep studio. And I'm like, which Mobb Deep? Like, what you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, the Mobb always been my favorite group, you know what I'm saying, growing up. So I didn't believe him. And then when we got there, Havoc was really there. And I was like, oh, shit, this is Havoc right here. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they played my record, and Havoc came from one room to the next, and he stopped the music, and he was like, yo, who's this? And they was like, yo, it's him, it's Nyce. He was like, yo, that shit fire. And he left. So I was like, damn, he just said it's fire and he left. What's that about? You know what I'm saying? And I got a call when I left the studio, like 20 minutes later. They was like, yo, Have wanna fuck with you, come back. I was like, I'll be right back. And then we just was rocking ever since.
That's a super dope story. You know, we have a new emerging boom bap lyrical campaign. It started with Griselda, and now we have a whole bunch of guys. From a legendary standpoint, because, you know, as a DJ, I kind of feel like I'm not getting music I could play in commercial spaces, if that makes any sense, right? You know, we always had, like, you know, we had our hardcore stuff, but, you know, we were always creating music for these commercial spaces, for the barbecues, for the clubs. Why do you think it's such like a rebellious movement that we're not getting that in general for the new crowd of guys?
You saying like the records that they're creating, they're not in a commercial space for like radio and stuff like that. That's what you're saying?
Well, I mean, just like I kind of feel like when I get like the new records in general, right? I kind of feel like I just can't really play them anywhere outside of radio. Whereas like you guys would have like, you know, you have Getaway, you would have this, you know, Hove would have these records, 50 would have records he could play in clubs and stuff. So why do you think we're not getting those type of records now?
Because, you know, I think, you know, the new era of artists now that are coming up, they are solely relying on the internet. You know what I mean? They're not more so thinking like how we was thinking back in the days with like, yo, let's get this to radio, blah, blah, X, Y, and Z. They are finding their bit of success through, you know, online situations, you know what I mean, via the internet and stuff like that. And, you know, but eventually some of those guys, they see that is two different, you know, sides of that coin. Like they do have to go through, you know, the radio, you know, channel, you know, as well as the internet, you know, to be a full success. But I think a lot of them coming into it, you know, it's just a different era. You know what I mean? I don't even think they even thinking about it like that. They just want to just get it out. They're not censoring it, and they just like, yo.
Havoc, I was looking through your discography, right? And impressive credits, like your production extends like for miles, but sometimes, and I learned recently, producers aren't credited on certain songs. Is there like a song in a different genre that maybe you might have worked on that you're not credited on? Like basically what I'm saying is there like a Lady Gaga song out there that maybe you might have produced for her or something of that nature?
I wish I could say yes, because then I'd be chasing that check down. But nah, there's no song out there to my knowledge that you know, that was done by me that I didn't get credit for. You know, I'm really on top of my business when it comes to that. Like, you know, doing production for people and making sure I get the credit. Yeah,
most definitely. Nice. You know, being from Queens, there are a lot of MCs that came from Queens. I mean, you got L, of course, you got the legendary Prodigy, you got Cool G Rap. It goes endless on and on. Who was the first MC in general that you heard that was like, damn, you know what? I want to be an MC. This is kind of like what I want to do.
Pretty much Nas and the Mobb. You know, after I heard Illmatic. And then I heard the Inphamus album. I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And Biggie too. When I heard Biggie first album as well, you know, shout out to Brooklyn too, because when I heard Biggie first album as well, I said, yeah, I want to be like these guys. You know what I mean? So shout out to Nas, the Mobb, of course, and Biggie. You know what I mean? They were the reasons why I do what I do.
Nice. I gotta ask. Obviously, your pen game is phenomenal if you're working with Havoc.
Yeah.
Does that extend to other artists? Do you help write other songs for artists maybe on your label or maybe like friends that you work with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wrote a couple of records. I'll just leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? I wrote a few records that I can't really talk about right now. But, yeah, I wrote a lot of records. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't have not only an amazing producer, but you are an amazing MC, and obviously you produce a lot of your records. Was there ever a record that you gave up that you were like, damn, I should have kept that for myself? Like, you know what I
mean? Thank you, first, foremost. Is there any records that I gave up that I wish I kept? Nah, I don't regret any of the records that I produced for other artists and, you know, gave it to them because I like to produce for other artists, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you know, when I make records for other artists, I kind of like psych myself out as if I'm making a record for myself, and then I give it to them.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
So Havoc, this might sound like a similar question, but for me, like the song Got It Twisted, I felt like it should have been bigger than what it was. Mm-hmm. Is there like a single that you guys dropped that maybe you felt didn't get the airplay it deserved, or maybe like fell under the radar?
Yeah. Man, I mean, a few records. Got It Twisted, yeah, it definitely could have been bigger than it was, but I think that had a lot to do with Loud was kind of like on his way out. You know what I mean? So we didn't get the push that we needed for that album. But you know, that album ended up going gold. So you know, I believe that was what, the Infamy album. You know, that ended up going gold anyway. But so it still has had an impact. You know, but there's a lot of records. You know, more than anything, the records, you know, whether they was pushed enough or not. Sometimes, you know, we in this day and age, I think that Mobb Deep didn't get the credit that, you know, they deserved. You know, as far as like, you know, getting nominations and stuff, things of that nature. Because I'm like, yo, all these years we dropping platinum and gold records, and I'm like, yo, where's the nominations at? You know what I'm saying? And that just go to show you that, you know, those Grammys, they dope when you get them, but they're not everything if you don't.
Do you think that was because maybe the music was too aggressive, maybe like generally speaking on the first two projects? Because, I mean, the music changed, obviously, as you guys developed as artists, but, you know, Juvenile Hell in the first 2-3 projects, they were very straightforward. Could that have been maybe a reason why?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of different factors of why, you know, things happened the way they did. The one that you mentioned could be one of them. But also, I just think that, you know, sometimes if your label is not pushing for that, you know what I'm saying, then you probably won't end up in that space. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not to shit on Loud Records or, you know, Steve Rifkin, because they did the best that they could do. But sometimes, you know, the best is not enough. You got to go a little bit harder. You know what I mean? But all in all, you know, I think Mobb Deep got what they deserve.
Yeah, that's a fact. So with that being said, let's say like you could go back and change things. What would you have done different?
If I could go back and change things, I'd do a video to Eye for an Eye, because I love that song, and I can't even believe we never did a video for that.
You know, my favorite Havoc beat, this is going to sound real random, but my go-to Havoc beat is the Foxy Brown joint, Promise.
Yeah. You went deep. You dug in the crates for that one.
Believe it or not, no. See, my set on SiriusXm, I play throwback. So I basically play 90s, 2000s. This is what I play every week. And the Promise joint, when that joint ring off, is super crazy. How underrated is Foxy Brown as an MC? I know there was some questions about her pen, but I mean, you know, times have changed. But let's talk about that record, how that developed and working with Foxy.
You know, it was dope working with Foxy. That was like at the beginning of my production career as a producer. It was dope working with her. You know what I mean? I wasn't used to working with artists. Her, as far as like, is she being underrated? I don't think Foxy's underrated. I think that, you know, she was put on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? She was up there, but I think that if anything fell short, it was just not putting out enough records.
Got it.
Now, redirecting back to Nyce here. Nyce, obviously you have a huge blessing. You get to stand on the shoulders of giants here. What's one of the best lessons you've learned from Havoc, like being around him, like business-wise and industry-wise?
Yeah, well, business-wise, he would always tell me, you know, just make the right decisions. You know, a lot of people will come at you with certain things, but you just got to know, you got to keep your head level and know what's right from what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And also he taught me, like, you know, be patient. You know what I'm saying? You know, they didn't build Rome in a day. You feel me? So, you know, you got the talent, and he was like, just follow me, and we're going to go to the promised land. And, you know, I'm following them, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And to piggyback off that, is there like any additional pressure? I mean, obviously you're coming out the gates. So this is my first time actually hearing about you, right? So this is, you're out the gate. It's like the Havoc records, you're pulling up with Havoc to the interview. So is there additional pressure with such a cosign, you know, what this kind of means to hip hop?
I mean, it's not really no pressure. It's just more of making the right decision and the right move. You know what I'm saying? Because I always had the talent was always there. Like I said, I don't, you know, growing up in Southside, you know, a lot of people in South Jamaica, Queens know who I am just from going to the park and, you know, kicking the freestyle, me, Banks, Yayo, going to different hoods, you know what I'm saying, and really just turning up, you know what I'm saying? So everybody knows the name, you know what I'm saying? And it was just more of me knowing the business than, you know, actually just rapping, because anybody can just rap, but you got to know what you're doing when you rapping. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the part that, you know, they're guiding me to. So, you know what I mean?
So 8 albums Mobb Deep did together.
Mm-hmm.
Havoc, you got to tour around the world. At what point did you kind of say to yourself, did you and Prodigy kind of go, yo, like, this is easy for us. Like, this is, the music comes out of us automatically. Anything we do is a hit in the streets. And, like, what did y'all feel like this, like, at the beginning, in the middle, or, like, towards the end?
I would say probably towards the middle. You know what I mean? But that being said, even still, we never took it for granted. You know what I mean? We always approached records like it was our first time, like really trying to keep that hunger going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, I saw an interview with you with my man Tragedy Gaddafi, and you had mentioned that basically without Prodigy there is no Mobb Deep, right? Obviously, you know, the group has ended. So how does the Mobb Deep legacy continue on? I mean, beyond just music.
I mean, you know, beyond just music, you know, continuing by, you know, still, you know, making records, you know, upholding the legacy. Not tarnishing it by, you know, throwing out weak stuff, you know what I mean? You know, things of that nature, just, you know, just having fun with it and, you know, just not letting anyone, you know, forget about Mobb Deep.
I feel like this is a very layered question, what I'm about to ask, but being that you're also a lyricist and the producer of the beat, you ever like hear the beat and then as you're writing to it, decide to go back and change something in the beat? Like, I feel like this is a question that I could only ask a few artists out there, like you, Kanye, but like, you're like, you ever go back and just go, nah, I need to like add more instrumentation to this beat, or I got to change this beat just for this lyric?
I mean, that happens every time I'm writing around to one of my beats. You know, I could be, you know, almost finished the rhyme or maybe in the middle of the rhyme, and I'm listening to the beat. I'm like, wait a minute, I'll go into the beat and I'll start manipulating it, changing it, you know, things of that nature, because while I'm writing, I'll hear something that could be added to it or something that needs to be taken out. You know, it works both ways.
Yeah, most definitely. And a quick segue into this. So we have a segment here on the Inphamus Hour, our top 5 segment. We've done everything from top 5 fast food sandwiches to top 5 MCs. So Havoc, I'm going to put you on the spot. Super random question. Top 5 producers that can rap.
Top 5 producers that can rap: Dr. Dre, Kanye, Q-Tip, Pete Rock.
Pete Rock.
Okay. And Large Professor.
Large Professor. Round of applause.
No, he was gonna say that.
He had that ready to go.
No, he did. And when I interviewed Pete Rock, he said you were his number one producer that can rap. I actually asked him the same question. Nyce Da Future, same question for our top 5 segment here on the Inphamus Hour. Top 5 producers with bars. Go.
All right, I'll go Havoc, of course. He number 1. I'll go Dr. Dre, number 2. I go Kanye West, number 3. I go Large Pro, number 4. I go Pete Rock, number 5.
Pete Rock.
Shout out to Pete Rock, super dope.
Very, very parallel list.
Super parallel. He just changed the order around. Nice. What's some current projects you're working on right now? What can we look forward to?
Well, you know, Future the Streets with me and Havoc is dropping this Friday. You know what I mean? So y'all definitely go check that out. You know, it's gonna be crazy, epic. And we currently working on Future the Streets Volume 2. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be dropping. And I also got something in the stash called The Vault. I'm naming it The Vault because it's like songs that I did like over the years that I never really put out. So it's kind of like a lost tape, you know what I'm saying? And that will be dropping a few days before the second project drop. So, you know, that's what the focus is right now.
So just a quick follow-up. With you say you're working on the project that you're releasing this week, and then you're already working on the second one.
Oh yeah, we almost finished with the second one, me and H. You know, we work like machines, you know what I'm saying?
Ready to go.
We actually could do like another 3-4 more joints, and we could probably gonna do that. So you know,
when do you decide that something is a project? Is it after like 30 songs are in the vault, or like after there's 100 recorded?
Yeah, pretty much like 20, 30. When we get 20, 30 up, we know, all right, we're going to pick the best out of the 20, 30. And, whatever gets laid away, we throw it in the vault. So we'll put it on the vault. You know what I mean? That's what we do. You know what I mean? So we'll just keep dropping music, continuously. We're not going to stop.
Yeah, most definitely. Havoc, we're in a much different time now as a hip-hop community. Obviously, what you like musically is like subject to kind of like what you like. Go to Spotify, iTunes, etc. When music was changing, did the elder statesmen of hip-hop know that this was going to happen? Or was it kind of just like a tidal wave that kind of happened and, people just kind of had to adjust to it?
For me, I can speak for myself. I don't know about anybody else, but I kind of seen it happening in slow motion, by the year 2000. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When you would listen to New York radio and you would probably totally forget that you was in New York because every record that was being played on the radio was from the South. So, I kind of seen it happening in slow motion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And just to kind of piggyback off that a little bit, do you think it's kind of radio's fault, maybe in a sense where, we are what we are musically when it comes to the lyricists, because now it's like the lyricists are like the minority in a sense, right?
Right.
They kind of feel that way. And working in radio, I see that the younger kids are still making records for terrestrial radio. So they feel like they got to sound a certain way, look a certain way. So, do you think that is a problem? And, how as a hip hop community can we actually fix this?
I don't think it's anybody's fault. You know what I mean? It's just the natural progression of things because each generation that comes, they always try to change it, and they do what they like. They don't like they might appreciate what came before, but they don't want to do the same thing. They try to change it. Mm-hmm. So, each, year and decade, things evolve. But if radio is to play a role, in anything that has to do with, hip hop, it's just making it more diverse with the genres of hip hop that's being played and not just lean towards one side, making it more popular than the other.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Let me ask you, Havoc. So the means of distribution for music have changed. Like everything is streaming nowadays. So that means like the way that music is curated to the masses is different now. Yeah. So like, did you like the old way where, a few program directors and tastemakers were doing all the choosing for what's going to be hot? Or do you like the new era where like somebody like Kid Leroy has 25 million Spotify users and like nobody knows who he really is?
Right. I would prefer the new way because, back in the days when it's just like one program director, that must have been a tough job for the program director back then, like to have to sift through all that music. But now, I think the universe is like wide open for a lot of different artists to have their own foundation. You know what I mean? So we'll have a kid named, like, what's his name? Leroy, you said?
Yeah.
With 25 million followers and nobody never even heard of him, but them 25 million people heard of him. You know what I mean? 25 million people heard of him. So I like the new way, you know what I mean? Because you can actually, start like grassroots on your own and build up your own foundation without having to wait for a certain machine to do it for you.
Yeah. One of the final questions before we get out of here. I was doing some interviews on SOBs, which obviously is a big performance venue in New York. I do their Instagram on Tuesdays. And it was a very interesting question that came up. And I'll ask both of you. I've asked, Havoc is a legendary guy, and then Nyce is the newcomer. As an MC, when is it time to actually start clearing samples, right? Because samples have changed, obviously, right? It's like, a lot of the guys that own the publisher, they've passed on. So as a legendary producer, when is it time for artists to seriously consider that they don't end up in a Robin Thicke situation where they owe like, $50 gazillion to Marvin Gaye's family?
Right.
And as an independent artist, when do you feel like, all right, I need to start making these decisions?
Right. You know what I mean? I think each situation is different, but just to go at it real quick, you're an artist. If somebody was to sample your stuff, you would want somebody to clear it. So if it's obvious that you sample somebody's stuff, I think you should just try to clear it right away. Most of the time, it don't even cost that much to do. You know what I mean? And you spare yourself the headache.
Yeah, you have track lib, you have different things. Nyce. Well, when do you think it's time to clear samples?
Yeah, man, I feel like if you got the money and you doing your thing, regardless, do it right away, man. Don't wait till you get that kind of situation. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that kind of situation. I mean, you're gonna lose out a lot. So my whole thing is, before you even drop the record, make sure you take care of the business. You know what I mean? Handle all that. You know what I mean? If you got it like that now, if you don't, you gamble. You know what I'm saying? You gonna just gamble and see what happens later on. But if you got it like we got it, we gonna take care of that ASAP. You know what I mean?
Facts. Nyce, before you go, I wanna play like a quick game with you. It's called an elevator pitch. So right now we're introducing you to a large audience, mostly boom bap people who still
in the airport, by the way.
Yeah, we're being played.
There are white people watching right now. Okay,
they're streaming everywhere. But like, let's say somebody had never heard of you, and you had to do like a quick 30-second elevator pitch to somebody. Like, oh, young man, what do you do for work? what do you tell them?
I tell them like I'm one of the best MCs they'll ever hear in their life, and if they listen to me, you know, they'll feel it in their soul, you know, because it comes from the heart. You know what I'm saying? It comes from the heart.
Confidence.
It's really what's going on in the streets. Like it's not the sugar, you know, it's not the sugar coated shit. You know, pause.
It's
Sorry
all good.
about
We
that.
have to do some editing.
But you know, it's
some editing, definitely.
but it's not, you know, it's basically what's happening. You know what I mean? I'm one of the leaders of the people in my neighborhood, and once you listen to me, you'll follow me. So, you know, come follow me, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I drop them jewels, you know what I'm saying?
Love that answer. I love it.
Most definitely. Havoc, same question. Our audience is primarily like 35 and older. They're like working consumer Facebook people. They are aggressive. They don't want to hear anything past 2000. Why should the audience, right? They are stuck in 2000 and back. Why should they tap in to the new Nyce Da Future project?
I would say the reason why because you know, it's music to your ears. You know what I mean? It's dope. It's refreshing. We still got that, you know, that vibe, you know, of the 90s, but with a new twist on it, you know, and it'll make them reflect on the things that they love, you know, as far as musically.
Yeah, most definitely. Round of applause. Havoc. Nyce Da Future to build it. All right,
Yes,
so real
sir.
quick, Nyce Da Future project's dropping Friday.
May 7th.
After that, what do you have? We have some videos coming up.
Yeah. The video drops May 11th with me and Havoc, called Boss of the Bosses Part 2. Video is super stupid.
Exclusive.
Yeah, the video looks crazy. It looks crazy. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all. It looks crazy. So
Yeah.
y'all gear up for that. And yeah, we got the video. The second vid gonna be shot soon. I can't believe it. That's gonna be a movie as well. You know, I'm kind of in with the treatment, so I make sure I paint a picture. I'm not just standing on the corner doing nothing. You know, just rapping. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a movie.
Yeah, and Havoc, same question. What's coming up for Havoc for the HOVC? What's popping off?
You know what I'm saying? I got this project with Nyce. I got the Method Man project.
Also, the joint project is happening. The Method Man and
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
that project is done.
Oh, round of applause.
Yes, sir.
We've been hearing about this for a while.
Yes, sir. And it's super stupid.
It's done.
I
We
must
just
say
looking
that.
Yeah, we just looking for a home for it or whatever that.
Did
that
COVID
is.
did COVID slow that down? Because I know you guys had
Absolutely.
the record.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we was going to drop it around the time right before COVID
That's
had
a
hit.
mean one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then everything just went crazy. So
Yeah.
so that's going on. Doing a project with Dark Low.
Ooh.
And then a few other artists that's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. Final question before we get out of here, Havoc. Of course, we cannot do this interview without mentioning Prodigy. Of course, we're approaching, the time of year where we're warning him again. In your opinion, as his other half, what is the legacy of Prodigy?
Oh man, the legacy of Prodigy is one that, he was consistent. He didn't bite his tongue, and he was a dope lyricist, man. And he stood for what he believed in, and his opinions. Sometimes, even though it wasn't popular, he stood by them.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks for coming to the Inphamus Hour. Of course, the Inphamus Hour. I'm your host, Inphamus Amadeuz. Tone very Nyce Da Future. The legendary
sir.
Havoc is here. Listen to us on a bunch of FM radio stations. Just tap in. Go to my Instagram, of course, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And big shout out to Boom Bap Nation and our sponsor, Livecast. Till next week. We'll see you then. Stay COVID-19 free and stay safe. We're out of here.
So.